Welcome, labels, to the brand new Naxos of America Label Services site. My name is John, and I will be instructing you on how to use DropZone to submit your albums or videos to Naxos of America for physical and digital distribution to retailers. Our development and production teams have been hard at work enhancing the functionality of this site and updating the aesthetics to a more visually pleasing look. As you can see, I am here on the new login screen, getting ready to sign in for the first time. I'll type in my username and password and log in to the site. Here is the new homepage. There is now a regularly updated news section, links to the Naxos of America social media sites, links to the new release guides, and the link to this video. Today, however, I am most interested in submitting my first ever album to Naxos of America for physical and digital distribution. To do this, I will need to use DropZone. Arriving at DropZone, I can immediately see that I have two options for submitting releases. I can submit a single release by clicking Create New Release. On the other hand, if I have a large amount of releases to submit, I can download this spreadsheet by clicking here, fill it out, and uploading it to the site in order to create releases. I also notice that if I create releases by spreadsheet, I will need to review my releases individually on DropZone to submit additional information and finalize the releases. Since I only have one album to submit right now, the best choice for me will be to create a new release within the site. The window that pops up will ask for some basic information in order to get started. I'll choose my label first, which will allow me to choose my distribution type. This release is physical and digital. Release months have to be set at least 2 months ahead to ensure a smooth distribution. Lastly, I'll enter my barcode, catalog number, and release title. And then, when I'm finished, I will click Create New Release. This will take me to the New Release Details page, where I can fill out all of the information about my release. Immediately upon reaching the page, I notice a few things. I can upload my art, booklet, and sales sheet here, and I can see how complete my submission is by looking at the progress tracker. The progress tracker is telling me I need to submit my assets and fill out some information in release details. I'll start by uploading the assets. Take notice of the Site Read button on the right. I'll come back to that in a minute. First, I need to upload the files for my album. Using the Asset Uploader, I can find files for my release by clicking Browse and then uploading them. If I use the naming convention that is shown, my files will automatically have their media type designated. Otherwise, I can use the drop-down menu in the Media Type column to make that designation. Using the guide in the top right, I know I have successfully submitted the required assets for my release when the icons turn green. While PDF booklets may be optional, they will certainly come in handy for this next feature. I take notice that the Site Read button is now active. I wonder what it does. SiteReader is an incredible new tool that sight reads your PDF sales sheets and booklets in order to find contributors that are on your album or video. Using Naxos of America's large database of classical musicians, SiteReader can suggest roles and sometimes instruments for contributors it finds in the PDF files. It will even suggest order, which puts contributors in order of importance on the release. If I see a contributor that I know is on the album, I simply check the box for that row and continue looking for more contributors. If there is incorrect data about a contributor that I want to add, I simply click the Edit button in the row, make my adjustments, and click Update, and continue selecting contributors to add. Once I have made all of my selections, I click the proper button at the bottom of the page to add the contributors to my album or video. Using SiteReader has saved me a large amount of time that I would have otherwise spent typing in all of this information manually. Thank you very much, SiteReader. Now that I've uploaded my assets, the progress tracker updates to show me that I've completed that portion of the submission. Looks like I now need to fill out some information in the Release Details panel. I can see that the basic information I have provided first is in this panel, but it looks like there is some missing data I need to provide. The status icon to the right of the panel and in the progress tracker helps me understand that there is still important information to fill out. Looking in the panel, I can see that I need to provide information about my physical and digital formats, physical price, and description. Now that I have provided information about my formats, I notice that some new panels have appeared at the bottom of the page. Since I'm finished with this panel, I'm going to click Save and Collapse to move Release Details out of the way. Release Details collapses up, and the next panel, Album Details, expands, allowing me to continue providing information about my release. Just like in Release Details, Album Details has a progress status that will show me which fields are required. I notice in the Artists list, I can see all of the contributors that SiteReader found and added to my release. If I need to manage these contributors further, I can do so by double-clicking any individual artist name to edit it. I can even add or delete artists. If I do any of these, I will need to click Save Artists next to the list to ensure my changes are captured. Additionally, if I know that any of these artists are on all of the tracks on my album, I can click once to select the artist, and then click Add Selected Artists to All Tracks. This way, when I create my tracks, DropZone will add those artists automatically. I'm noticing that some of these fields are not required, but I'm not exactly sure what they are. If I ever have a question about any field, I just need to hover my mouse over the blue tooltip that is next to the field, and the site will tell me about it. It looks like Naxos of America will assign ISRCs from my album if I asked them to. I'll go ahead and check that box. I need to finish filling out information for this panel. In the Track Details panel, I can fill out the information pertaining to the tracks on the album. In order to manage these tracks, Track Select shows a list of tracks I have created and allows me to move quickly between sets of data that pertain to different tracks. When I first create the release, a default track is added to allow me to begin entering track information quickly. Each track has its own individual status that can be viewed in Track Select. The status will go from red to green once all the required information has been filled out for that track. For now, I will fill out the required information for this track. I see that I can manage artists on a track similarly to the way I manage artists at album level. For this track, I only need to fill out my track title and timing since I have already added my artists. Looking at the bottom half of the panel, I notice there are a lot of fields with checkboxes. Beneath those boxes is a button that will copy the selected fields to all tracks. I know, at least for this album, the copyright and the recording engineer are all the same for all of the tracks, so I'll go ahead and enter and copy those. Now that I'm finished with this track, I can either add a new track by clicking the New Track button at the bottom of the page, or by clicking Add Track beneath Track Select. When I do this, I notice all of my data disappears. Not to worry, I can go to Track Select and click on any track I want to edit it, and it will bring up the data for that track. In addition to clicking on a track in Track Select to view and edit data, I can also click the Previous and Next buttons to cycle through existing tracks I've created. I'm noticing that the information I requested to be copied to all tracks is already there. Track Details will remember this information for all future tracks I create. The final step in my submission process is to upload my audio. I can do this in the Audio Bank panel by selecting Audio Upload in the Audio Delivery Method drop-down menu. I need to click Browse to find my files, but first I want to make sure that I've properly followed the naming convention. I can double check by clicking this message to show the naming convention. This tells me how to properly name my audio, to ensure the proper information gets attached to it when it's uploaded. Information like disk number, track number, format, and sample rate. I believe my files are properly named, now that I've read this again. To upload, I need to click Browse and find my files, then click Upload again. It looks like my files have finished uploading and have the appropriate track and format assigned. But I must have misnamed one of the files because it is missing a track. Not to worry, I can simply double-click on the Attached to Track Number field to select which track I want to assign the audio to. I'll click Save Changes on the right when I'm finished. Now that I'm finished with my release, I'll click Save and Collapse at the bottom and have a look at the progress tracker one more time to see if any information is missing. If any of the panels are still showing as incomplete, I'll go take a look at them to see what I forgot to fill out. If all the statuses are green and the progress tracker says 100% complete, I am finished filling out my release and can start a new release if I have more. I've submitted my album, but I also have a video that I want to submit. I think I'll try the submission spreadsheet for this release. I'll need to download the spreadsheet and fill it out before I can submit it to DropZone. Looking at the Key tab helps me understand what I need to do to submit this video. Since I'm submitting a physical-only video, I only need to fill out the Video Data tab. The spreadsheet also has tips that pop up for each column to help me fill in my information properly. Once I have finished filling out the spreadsheet, I save it and return to DropZone so I can upload it. Looking below, I can see that my release has been uploaded and there is still some work that needs to be done. I can click the blue edit icon in the far left column in order to see the release, upload my assets, and fill out more information if I missed anything that was required. I have a few things missing, but I can fill them out later. As long as I save somewhere on the page, DropZone will remember my progress and I can revisit the release to finish at a later time. I notice that I have a deadline to reach 100% completion. If for some reason I don't finish my release before the deadline, the release will automatically be delayed to the next release month. However, I will be able to edit this release at any time until it is complete and the deadline passes. If I have any questions about submitting a release, I can refer to the Naxos of America New Release Submission Handbook, which can be found in the FAQ section under the DropZone topic. If the handbook does not cover my question, I can always email production@naxosusa.com, and the production department will help me with my submission. This concludes our tour of the new DropZone, and I hope you enjoyed our video.